until we meet again.
Okay, hello Rowan.
Hello.
Congratulations for the movie.
Thank you.
The first question is, John English strikes again. Why is he striking again? Why is he going?
Why is he striking again? Well, it's a very good question. Well, he's striking again because of a happy accident that all the modern serving agents of British intelligence are compromised because of a hacking attack by someone who we don't know who that someone is at the beginning of the movie, and so there are no modern agents left to try to address the crisis and solve the problem. So they have to bring an old one out of retirement, and we see that Johnny English is actually a geography teacher at a small school in Lincolnshire in England, and much to his joy and delight, he is called back in, and he comes back in, and he's our man. He's our man trying to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm. Rowan, do you feel it's more difficult for you writing the gags, the scenes, the comedy scenes, or rehearsing or shooting them?
Or shooting them. I much more enjoy the writing than I enjoy the shooting. The shooting a movie I always find really hard and really difficult and stressful. I find, just the constant belief that you're not doing it well enough. That's my perfectionist problem. But whereas actually the script stage, when you're sitting in a room with, like-minded people thinking, wouldn't this be funny or wouldn't that be funny, that suddenly that's fun. It's genuinely enjoyable. And then actually I enjoy the process after you've made the movie, when you're editing it and you're choosing the music and you're doing the sound mix and all that sort of stuff, which yet again, it's whenever I'm not acting, I enjoy it. When I'm acting, I find it very hard.
The movie has comedy, but has action too.
Yes.
Can you remember any challenging scene? For example, the discotheque, the boat, the boots, the armor. I don't know.
The suit of armor was a horrible costume to be in. Even though it's not made of metal, it looks like metal, but it's actually a very clever plastic. But it's it's still heavy. And it's awkward, so I found that very hard. When we were shooting the second movie, we had a problem where I tore a muscle in my calf, in my leg, and just before we were going to go to Hong Kong to shoot for 3 weeks. So we had had to take a few days off, and then it was very difficult doing my recovery through physiotherapy while we were still shooting. So I was very keen this time to make sure that I was fit enough to do everything, particularly things like the dancing scene, which was physically very demanding. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite comedy actors in the history? I don't know. Do you feel Johnny English is more like Buster Keaton or something like that? Or?
Yeah, I don't know Buster Keaton very well. I knew Charlie Chaplin slightly better. I mean, not on a personal level, but I remember watching him and admiring him a lot. There's a French comedian called Jacques Tati, whom I always admired hugely, and I think it was his movie, Monsieur Hulot's Holiday, Les Vacances de Monsieur Hulot, that I remember watching when I was 17 and thinking that this was a very interesting and completely engaging tone. It was the tone of the comedy that I liked so much. And of course it was visual. And really that movie was the greatest inspiration, the most important single inspiration for Mr. Bean. I think Mr. Bean, I think Jacques Tati and Monsieur Hulot, the character he created, was a much nicer person than Mr. Bean. I think Mr. Bean is a very unpleasant, self-centered individual, but Jacques Tati was a much much nicer man and nicer character. But that was definitely the inspiration.
Mr. Bean is dead forever. Are you going to bring back him again in a new series? Or
I don't know. We were talking about doing a new TV series with him, and I sort of half thought about it, and then I thought, I don't know, stress. Stress and work. I find playing Mr. Bean particularly difficult and stressful, so I don't know. You must never say never, so I'm certainly not going to say never, but I think it's unlikely.
And are we going to bring back Johnny English in a new comedy?
Maybe, but yet again, unlikely. Yet again, I'm saying, never say never again, so I'm not going to say that. But I think that, I don't know. There are certainly no plans.
How would you define Johnny English? Is a clumsy James Bond, for example? How do you feel is Johnny English?
Well, clearly he thinks he's James Bond. He's not, but he thinks he is. And I think the James Bond he's thinking about more in his head is Roger Moore. I think rather than Sean. I mean, there's a bit of Sean. Sean Connery arguably is the more glamorous, but it's that sort of smug thing that I think he thinks about Roger Moore more.
There's a scene when you're a French waiter,
yes,
with the lobster and
yes,
so.
yes.
Was it very difficult to prepare because there has a lot of shoots and parts?
Yes, it was a long scene. It took, I don't know, we were on that set for about 4 days, I think, and it was in a studio, in fact. But sadly we weren't in the south of France for that scene. We were in a studio at Pinewood in England, but it was difficult. It's complicated when you've got props and you've got flames and you've got stuff. But I think the scene works well, and I think it's a funny idea.
How did you prepare the shooting with David and with Olga, for example? You did a lot of rehearsals? Or?
We did some rehearsals for the difficult stuff, like the dance sequence in in which Olga's, is trying to strangle me. We did some rehearsal for that, but like most movies, we didn't do as much rehearsal as we would like to have done. But because it's so difficult getting everyone together before you shoot. Always the problem with movies. But we did some rehearsal. We didn't do any rehearsal with Emma, who plays the Prime Minister, Emma Thompson.
Yes.
But we did some rehearsal, but not enough.
Okay. So, will you change any part of the movie, Johnny English Strikes Again? Or?
Oh yeah, I'd like to go back to it again. I'm never happy with what we've done, but I was pleased when I saw it a few weeks ago. The final version, the final cut, the final sound mix. That I thought actually this movie's okay. I like the spirit of it. I think it's got a very optimistic spirit. So that's good. But in detail, I look at things and I say that shot should be a bit longer. We shouldn't have done that. We should have had a better line there. There's lots that's wrong with it, in my opinion, but not enough to spoil it.
Okay. Thank you so much for the chance.
Thank you very much.